How we doing, everybody? Welcome back. Thought I would do a couple voiceovers here today. If you've been following along, you've noticed a tree in the background of most of the videos for quite some time, and today is the day. We had a hackberry tree in one of the last big rainstorms we had snap on the other side of the creek and fall out into the yard just pretty much right up against my last few rows of firewood. And I took the tractor and just pushed it off the firewood, but it needs to get cleaned up. So this is the last couple rows of hickory and cherry I have left in the wood yard after the flood, and I need to get to it. So here we go with the 194T. That is my go-to when it comes to this kind of work or removing brush, anything like that. Very handy little top handle saw. This tree fell into this, I'm not even sure what this is. It started looking like a bush and it's kind of grown into a tree. I need to trim a few broke branches off of it and kind of get it freed up. That way we can start delimbing the hackberry. So just taking a few limbs off here. That whole tree may eventually just come down. Like I said, I'm not even for sure what it is. It's always been kind of in the way when I'm coming around to load up wood, but since I'm switching to pretty much all IBC totes, it really doesn't matter right now with the tractor. You just move the IBC totes, no need to get a trailer in there. So I'm just getting all this brush removed, and every time I do a job like this, I realize that one day a grapple is definitely something I want to add to the equipment line for the tractor. You'll notice numerous times in this video where a grapple, and I know a lot of you have told me this, but money is always the holdup. Stuff like that just isn't cheap, and you do want to do your homework on what you want to get and what best suits your operation. I've kind of decided that a root rake style grapple is what I want, so I can use it both ways, like for removing brush and getting it down low. The forward plate, the bottom plate on a root rake style grapple kind of curls up, enabling you to kind of tilt it and use it as a rake, where the name comes from, to push small branches and brush like this, and go ahead and come over the top and get a good bite on it and remove brush and stuff like that. But I could also pick up logs and stuff with it as well. Just trying to decide what I was going to do here, and I knew that I just wanted to get the tractor hooked to this tree. That way, put a little pressure on it. I freed up all the limbs to keep them from digging into the ground. And I just want to pull it across the creek where I can work on it without having to deal with the creek. See if the little coyote's got enough grunt. No problem at all. I'm going to go ahead and cut this hackberry up for firewood. It tends to be a little stringier, but it is very, very good burning firewood. Got a little pile of smaller stuff, and then you can see right there where it snapped. Not much wood here, but it's worth saving. If I'm doing the work, I might as well get some out of it. 261 out now for the bigger part. Really love this saw. I use it about 90% of the time. You'll see here, I get it bound up, and I don't know if the camera will pick up on it. I was pulling on it. There was a piece of them shards that pulled up inside of the clutch area. See a little bit of stuff hanging there on the bottom of the saw. I'm just going to get this log. I measured out and made a few little marks. I'm going to get it kind of cut up and just remove it with the tractor. Get it over closer to the wood pile before I buck it up. This is another time where a grapple would be so much more beneficial. The forks work. You'll just notice they slide around, so it's harder to keep the logs on the forks. It does work. Just shortly after the footage was taped here, I loaded the tractor up the next day. Didn't get any footage of it, but I went and picked up 3 dump trailer loads of mulberry from my tree service guy that he had cut down, and really makes you start thinking more of a grapple, because huge mulberry logs, really don't want to pick those up over the side of the dump trailer and drop them all at once into the floor. Try to take care of it, make it last as long as you can. And with the pallet forks, you kind of got to load some smaller logs first and get them in there, so that way there's a little cushion for the bigger logs. But a couple of those big logs that I went and got, I actually opened the rear doors of the dump trailer and set them on the end of the trailer, one end of the log up, and then I moved my pallet forks closer together and came around on the end of the log and just lifted it and slid it in the trailer. And you'll see here where a grapple would have been more beneficial. This hackberry, like I said, is rather stringy, and just one little shard left that didn't cut all the way through it is holding me up here. Where with a grapple, I could have really just got a bite on that log and just pulled up and just jerked it off of there. Like I said, pallet forks do work, and it is an implement that I wouldn't be without because of the IBC totes, but grapple would have definitely been easier, because I know there's a lot of you in the comment section that have been leaving me comments on, you need a grapple, it will change your life. It's all baby steps. Slowly but surely, we'll get there. You'll see another case here where you kind of push the logs around. Go ahead and get them picked up, but if you don't have them perfectly in the center, they want to slide off of the forks. And like I said, you can make it work. It just takes a little bit more effort. But I can't say enough about this tractor. I've got about 80 hours on it now, and I have loved every minute of it, and so has it my back. Anyway, just a real quick little storm cleanup. Thought I'd bring you all along. And get the last few remaining ones loaded here by hand. And you'll see in the end of the video, this hackberry was cut up and split within 30 minutes of getting it over to the staging area, and it's already in totes and starting to dry. I really like to mix a lot of different woods in my mixed hardwoods, so this particular tote had maple, cherry, hackberry, and ash in it. as you can see right there. Sometimes it's a little frustrating. I wound up getting them all onto the end of the forks, but due to the smaller pieces and some of the longer ones that stuck out, I went ahead and jumped off and threw the rest of them on there. So just a little bit more leg work when you're using pallet forks. So not a bad little pile of logs here coming in. And as I said before, hackberry is very good burning firewood in my opinion. You can't beat free and very close to the wood yard. I don't think you get no closer than this. Then a second little pallet fork load of limb wood. Now a lot of this limb wood I will not split for sellable firewood, but I will save quite a bit of the little stuff just to burn in my wood stove in the garage. Not too shabby. Another half a tote or so full of wood. Area's all cleaned up now. Now I can access the gravel pad from this end with the tractor, because there's going to start being totes put in there just shortly. And as I said, it all got bucked up, and shortly after this it was all split and in totes. Alright, so now this is a different day, and what we're looking at here is the 3 loads of mulberry that I brought home from my tree service guy's property. This tree, as you're going to see right here with that dark color, was split in half for most of its life, and he wound up putting a chain around this tree to keep it from breaking apart, and it was still alive, but the new owners of the property wanted it removed. He sold the property and they wanted it gone. So it's in my yard now, and you're going to see me start cutting it up because I want to mix it in with the cherry, ash, and maple that I've already got cut up, so I get that good mix of firewood. So here we go. Alright, so almost have this tote filled up, and although everything doesn't make video, I wind up splitting 2 different totes of firewood this morning. Got a lot of the uglies cleaned up and just pecking away at this big pile of tree service wood a little at a time. But I want to thank everybody for being here if you stuck around this long, and as always, if you're interested in these Wolf Ridge splitters and you need more information on them, go check out Wolf Ridge's website. And you can also, if you're interested in purchasing one in the St. Louis area, you can give Norm and Tom at Widman Cycles a call. I will leave the links in the video description below. Until next time, everybody, get outside. See ya.